What Red Dead Redemption 2 got right and wrong about hunting. Hello and welcome back to Hunter Explains. Be sure to subscribe if you're looking for more hunting content. When Rockstar Games released Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018, the world was immediately captivated by its vast landscapes, intricate characters, and deeply immersive gameplay. But one of the most fascinating mechanics in the game wasn't just the gunslinging or the cinematic story. It was the hunting. Hunting in RDR2 is more than just a side activity. It's an integral part of the world, woven into survival, crafting, and even morality. But here's the question we're diving into today. How accurate is Rockstar's portrayal of hunting compared to real life? Did they nail the details of animal behavior, tracking, and weapon effectiveness? Or did they bend reality for the sake of fun and accessibility? Let's take a look at what Red Dead Redemption 2 got right, what it got wrong, and what it reveals about the delicate balance between realism and gameplay. Section 1. Animal Behavior. Realism in the wild. One of the most immediately striking aspects of RDR2's hunting system is the lifelike behavior of its animals. Deer spook when they smell or hear you. Predators stalk their prey, sometimes even ambushing the player. Birds scatter from treetops when shots are fired. What Rockstar got right. These details mirror real-world wildlife behavior in impressive ways. In real hunting, scent, sound, and sight are the three critical elements animals use to detect danger. A white-tailed deer, for example, has an incredibly keen sense of smell, able to pick up a human scent from hundreds of yards away if the wind carries it. Likewise, they're tuned into sudden noises like snapping twigs, and they'll bolt at the slightest sign of danger. RDR2 captures this brilliantly. The way the game forces you to consider wind direction and approach quietly is exactly what a real hunter must do. Predators, too, were given impressive AI. Wolves hunt in packs, and cougars can leap at you out of nowhere. In real life, mountain lions are ambush predators, and hunters in the American West often describe the eerie feeling of being watched before they even see the cat. The game manages to replicate that tension. Where it falls short. But not every behavior is accurate. For instance, animals in the game respawn far too quickly. In real ecosystems, hunting or scaring off wildlife in an area might make that spot barren for days or even weeks. Rockstar speeds this process up, of course, because a barren map would make for dull gameplay. Another inaccuracy lies in predator aggression. In the game, wolves and cougars attack frequently and with boldness. In reality, predators like these are far more cautious. Wolf attacks on humans are extremely rare, and most cougars will avoid people unless desperate. The game exaggerates these encounters to raise tension and excitement. Section 2. Tracking. Following the signs of the hunt. Tracking is one of the most impressive mechanics in RDR2. Using Eagle Eye, players can see glowing trails that highlight footprints, scents, and disturbed brush. It turns every hunt into a mini detective story. What Rockstar got right. The game emphasizes the importance of subtle signs. Broken branches, paw prints, scat. All are things real hunters and trackers use in the wild. For example, elk leave large heart-shaped tracks in soft soil. Deer scat can tell you not only the species, but how recently the animal passed through. The game at least acknowledges these clues, even if it simplifies them into glowing trails. Where it falls short. The glowing trail mechanic is, of course, pure fantasy. In real life, tracking is painstaking and requires years of practice. Hunters and trackers often rely on tiny details, a bent blade of grass, a slight depression in mud, that aren't nearly as obvious as RDR2's visuals. By giving players a magic vision tool, the game removes much of the difficulty but keeps the sense of discovery. Another oversimplification is time. In the game, trails fade after a few minutes. In reality, tracks can last hours or even days depending on conditions. A skilled tracker might follow the same set of prints over rugged terrain for miles. Section 3. Weapon effectiveness, guns, bows, and reality. One of the key elements of hunting in RDR2 is choosing the right weapon for the right animal. Use a bow with small game arrows for rabbits, a scoped rifle for deer, a shotgun for birds. This mirrors real-world hunting practices, but only to an extent. What Rockstar got right. The game's emphasis on shot placement is incredibly accurate. In RDR2, if you shoot an animal in the wrong spot, you'll ruin its pelt or prolong its death. Real hunters know that ethical shot placement, usually aiming for the lungs or heart, is crucial. A misplaced bullet can spoil meat, damage the hide, or cause needless suffering. The bow's inclusion is also a nod to real-life bow hunting, which requires stealth, patience, and close-range accuracy. Many modern hunters favor compound bows, but the recurve and longbow designs in the game reflect older hunting traditions. Where it falls short, where RDR2 diverges from reality, is in weapon lethality and variety. For instance, a revolver can take down a bear in the game if you fire enough shots. In reality, a handgun, especially a small caliber revolver, would be a dangerous and irresponsible choice for such large game. Similarly, the damage scaling in the game is simplified. Real-world ballistics involve complex factors: bullet grain, velocity, penetration, and shot angle. The game streamlines all of this into a basic right gun for the right animal formula. While accurate in spirit, it lacks the depth of real-life hunting physics. Section 4. Realism of kills, clean shots versus game balance. Perhaps the most ethically weighty aspect of hunting, both in real life and in RDR2, is how cleanly an animal is killed. What Rockstar got right. The game rewards clean, single-shot kills. This mirrors the ethics of real hunters, who strive to minimize suffering. In fact, the hunting community often stresses that the ultimate goal is a quick, humane kill. By penalizing poor shots with damaged pelts and lower rewards, the game reinforces this ethic, where it falls short. However, the game sometimes misrepresents how tough animals truly are. For example, a single arrow might take down a deer instantly in RDR2. In reality, even a well-placed arrow often requires the hunter to track a wounded deer for several minutes or even hours before recovery. Blood trails are essential in these cases, something the game only lightly touches on. On the other end of the spectrum, some animals in RDR2 seem too resilient. Legendary animals, for instance, can soak up an unrealistic number of bullets. While this makes for dramatic gameplay, it breaks immersion for hunters who know that even the largest animals cannot withstand multiple fatal shots to the heart or lungs. Section 5. Skinning and harvesting. Between realism and shock value. One of the most memorable and sometimes shocking aspects of hunting in RDR2 is the skinning animations. Arthur Morgan kneels beside his kill and strips the hide in a graphic, detailed sequence. What Rockstar got right. The process of skinning is indeed a central part of real hunting. Hunters often describe it as time-consuming, messy, and vital for preserving both the hide and meat. By forcing players to go through a skinning animation rather than simply looting the animal, Rockstar underscores the reality that hunting doesn't end with the shot. The detail given to carcasses, showing exposed muscle and bone, captures the visceral nature of field dressing. For many players unfamiliar with hunting, it's a sobering reminder of where leather, pelts, and meat actually come from. Where it falls short. That said, the speed of Arthur's skinning is laughably unrealistic. In real life, skinning a deer can take upwards of an hour for a skilled hunter. A bear or elk? Several hours. The game condenses this into a few seconds to keep the pacing tight. Additionally, the way Arthur magically tucks massive pelts or entire animal carcasses onto his horse glosses over the sheer physical labor of transporting game. In reality, dragging or packing out an elk can require multiple hunters or even specialized equipment. Section 6. Game balance versus Realism. Why Rockstar had to compromise. It's important to remember that RDR2 is, at its core, a video game. Rockstar aimed for immersion, but also for accessibility and fun. If the game had insisted on total realism, many players would have been turned off. Imagine spending hours tracking a single deer, only to fail because the wind shifted slightly. That might be authentic, but it wouldn't be entertaining for most gamers. The glowing eagle eye trails, the sped-up skinning, the exaggerated predator aggression, all of these are compromises. They keep the hunting system engaging without bogging the player down in endless realism. Section 7. Ethical hunting practices. Lessons from the game. One of the most surprising elements of RDR2's hunting is how much it echoes real-world ethics. The game often rewards players for hunting responsibly and punishes careless behavior. What Rockstar got right. For example, clean kills yield higher rewards, just as ethical hunters strive for humane kills in real life. Overhunting or wasting carcasses can lower honor, reflecting the moral consequences of greed and disrespect for wildlife. The legendary animals also serve as a symbolic commentary. In real life, hunting rare or endangered animals is heavily restricted or illegal. By making legendary hunts unique and weighty, Rockstar underscores their significance. Where it falls short. Still, the game sometimes blurs the line between sport hunting and survival. Real hunters often hunt for food, population management, or conservation purposes. In RDR2, players sometimes hunt purely for profit or crafting, which can misrepresent the broader philosophy many hunters hold. Section 8. Historical context. Hunting then and now. Another fascinating layer of RDR2 is its historical setting. The late 1800s were a transitional period for hunting in America. The frontier spirit still lingered, but conservation movements were beginning to take root. The game reflects this tension. On one hand, you can hunt freely, reflecting the abundance of the time. On the other hand, characters occasionally comment on the dwindling buffalo population. A nod to real history, where overhunting nearly drove bison to extinction. Compared to modern hunting, RDR2's system feels both archaic and familiar. The weapons, ethics, and reliance on hunting for survival harken back to an earlier age. Yet many of the core principles, stealth, patience, respect for the animal, remain timeless. Conclusion. The legacy of Rockstar's hunting system. So, what did Red Dead Redemption 2 get right and wrong about hunting? It nailed the importance of stealth, shot placement, and the raw reality of harvesting an animal. It gave players a glimpse into the challenges and ethics hunters face, while still keeping the experience exciting and accessible. But it also simplified, exaggerated, and sometimes distorted the realities of the hunt, whether in animal behavior, weapon lethality, or the sheer labor of skinning and transport. And yet, that's exactly why the system works. It's not a hunting simulator. It's an artistic blend of realism and design. By walking that line, Rockstar created a system that both educates and entertains, sparking curiosity about the real-world practices it draws from. In the end, hunting in Red Dead Redemption 2 is less about perfectly mirroring reality and more about capturing its spirit. The patience of the stalk, the thrill of the chase, and the respect owed to the animal. For many players, that balance is what makes it unforgettable.